I'm here really in three contexts. Firstly, I'm representing the University of Liverpool, where I work in the Careers and Employability Service, so I'm bringing a different institutional bearing on things. Secondly, as the chair, hopefully I'm representing WiSCV and the network as a whole. But thirdly, I'm representing myself as somebody whose whole graduate career has been in student volunteering. I'm representing those of you whose roles are also at risk in July. And I'd like to say that although I am intending on moving on in July, it doesn't mean that I don't value student volunteering or I don't care what happens to it after July. Obviously, I've invested a huge amount of my life in student volunteering, and I'm really passionate to see it continue at Liverpool. Looking at particularly at Liverpool and looking at the role and value of student volunteering and how in particular the careers and employability view volunteering, it's absolutely integral to employability, and employability is one of those bottom line factors. It's not the cute and cuddly feel good factor, it's one of those achievables that universities need to demonstrate. And being based in a careers service, employability is obviously really integral. But especially in the current climate, there is far more pressure than ever before for students to graduate with the skills that employers need. And it's not so much the case anymore that those of you who are students going to graduate employers, when you say, oh, I volunteer, they'll think, oh, this is a nice person. That's not enough anymore. They actually want to know what skills you've developed through your volunteering. It's becoming a much harsher reality out there. So you need to be really careful to be able to demonstrate really how volunteering has actually made a difference to you and how it will make a difference to their company. Obviously it's also key to student experience, and it's seen as kind of part of our offering. We're very much looking at establishing volunteering as part of our placement unit, and our placement unit has been written throughout the entire employability strategy, which has been passed by the University Senate, which effectively makes it law. The university is currently going through its strategic planning process, and we're looking very much at volunteering being core funded, because volunteering is absolutely core to what the university is delivering. However, I am a slight victim of timing, in that because we're currently going through that process, it means decisions won't be made about how the university is practically going to take forward volunteering until after my contract's finished. Therefore, what Careers and Employability Service is doing to try and ensure we can continue volunteering provision and we can continue the relationships that we've built up with organisations and we can maintain our activity. We're looking at several bids in to get some bridging funding and some interim project funding. Then the test stuff was announced and we looked at the test consultation document. I went to my line manager and I said, well, is the university going to continue funding volunteering through this test allocation? And she said no, and my face dropped. The reason for that is because the university believes that volunteering shouldn't be project funded. It shouldn't be an additional extra nice thing that universities get to do if they get given some money for it. It should be something that every university does. And that's why we've never looked to fund volunteering from this new test fund that is the continuation of TQF, because we want volunteering embedded as part of our core activities. I mentioned placements before and I saw a few people pull a funny face. At Liverpool we're looking very much at providing a lot more curriculum-based learning opportunities. Liverpool is fairly far behind some of my colleagues up here in terms of the provision of community-based learning opportunities for students. So there is something we're addressing, it is something that's going to be part of the placement unit. However, the placement unit isn't just about providing opportunities for students to volunteer as part of their studies. It's also about students wanting to volunteer for all the other reasons. And talking about academic-based placements, I think that academic-based placements do represent a really, really good opportunity. And it is something that universities should be doing a lot more of. However, there is also the potential for academic-based placements to go horribly wrong. And I've seen it happen in a few cases. I've heard some horror stories. What I would say, and what was part of the WiSCV response to HEFCE, was that the importance is that there are people in the institution who understand not only the needs of the institution and what the academic requirements of that learning is, but also understand the needs of the local community. So that academic-based placement can be something that really benefits the student, but also really benefits the organisations that they're going out to. And that's one of my key arguments to HEFCE as to why they need to make sure that the people who've got all the skills and experience, basically my WiSCV members who've got that expertise, are retained and are able to stay in post and use those expertise to benefit everyone. In terms of what WiSCV have done, I mentioned a little bit before, we did the joint policy response with VE, and we've also responded to HEFCE separately about the test consultation. Both of these we did post to the mail base so that workers could use those arguments within their own institutions. As chair, I've been going to various meetings with various different stakeholders, people like Sophie and the NCCPE, to really raise the profile and to tell the story of student volunteering and to make sure that people are aware of the fact that this funding is coming to an end, that all the good work that we've built up could be at risk unless people take action, and to gain support from various causes. I'm aware that there's quite a few students in the room, and I'm really glad to see so many students. I'm aware some of you might be thinking, well, how is some of this relevant to me? My job isn't at risk. I would echo very much what some of the speakers have said here, and in particular Sophie, that students, I would have a chat to your volunteering coordinators and find out what the situation is, so that you're aware. But also I would start thinking about what your individual story is and think about what response you can make. I'm sure there are some really phenomenal stories in the room. Who can you tell those stories to so that it's heard by senior management, so that that impact is made? Can you report through your staff student liaison committees so that it goes up through university structures and it's reported to academic committees? This student with this volunteering activity really made an impact to them making sense of their course. I'm going to finish, probably because I have to, but my 3 words really. Firstly, was inspire. Secondly was learn, and third was achieve.